You're all sitting here relaxed and enjoying the show, but I'm sure you all know that you are living through one of the most titanic changes in, I would say, in the history of humankind. The change of the technology, the digital revolution, that going through the entire lifespan, the entire life cycle that we're going, which can take giants and put them down, and can take nothing and make them giant. Let me use one example out of many about this company. You know Nokia. Look what happened when technology changed, and Nokia went down, and iPhone, followed by other, Samsung and other, rose up, and all of a sudden, they are leading the world. Those of you in my age that still remember the IBM huge mainframe and the PDP digital, and IBM gave the license for the PC software, you know, it's stupid PC software, to Microsoft, and the chip to Intel. And look what's happened to Intel, look what happened to Microsoft, and IBM got out of the business of PC. The history is full of companies, of giants that went up, and as technology changed, they went down. And they're going down because, as Carlos from Renault said yesterday, because they are so busy to serve their customer. They have the legacy of product. They have to manufacture, to deliver, to service, and to provide profit. Whereas the startup who are coming from nowhere, they are free. And their valuation, as you saw yesterday, is amazing. So, technology does work. So, in the automotive industry, we all got into a certain way of driving. We all know, by the way, that's not a picture in Israel, as you can see by the cars. But there is a certain way to drive, but it's all about to change significantly, which company who will not be ready and will not take the right action may disappear. And there will not be a surprise. I think the odds, if you look back to the history, the odds of the incumbent is not that high, as I said before. Because the autonomous car disruption is on every aspect of the communication, technology, policy, navigation, every aspect. It's much bigger than just go from point A to point B. Is by far exceeding the revolution of the iPhone, by far. Because here in the iPhone, we talked about data. We talked about voices. Here, it's about life. And when you have the life involved, and you have to do much more than just a travel experience, which will change, the whole platform will change, and no one knows yet what will be the end product of that autonomous car. Look at the complexity of the change when you look at the bottom, when you see all the development tools that you need. And above the development tools and sensors, you need the processing, you need sensor, you need connectivity, you need mapping, you need algorithm, you need security. All of that need to be managed by the top autonomous solution. It's a very complex interaction activities that not too many would go all the way to the end of it. Just one element is, think about the amount of data that's going to flow. That's some estimation of a city of 1 million people. It's not really a city. In China, it's a small village of 1 million people. There will be more than 200 petabytes. It's not giga, it's not tera, it's peta. It's petabyte, it's 10 to the 15. That will be the amount of data that the world have to process, and even the G5 will not be good enough for that. The technology and the technologists will run, and they are running very, very fast. That's understood. The question is, what happened with the regulators? Because when you talked about the technologies that run fast and the regulators stay behind, then you may end up with situations like privacy today with data, that there is no good regulation. And now the European Union came with the regulation, and all of a sudden American companies have to pay hefty price because they are not ready for the regulation. And the challenge here is how you bring the regulator fast enough to the technologists so they can go and work together instead of creating gap and creating disasters. And again, we are talking about life. If the regulation will not be good enough for car to drive safely, we can have a disaster. In Israel, we provide a very, very interesting variety of entrepreneurship, of ecosystem. We are providing today, if you look how many companies 10 years ago were top companies in Israel, you can see only 4 giant companies. And look who are the leading here. The leading companies here are the petroleum, the gas and oil. Fast forward 10 years, we have none of the gas and oil. It's only virtual data, virtual companies. Only those who deal with data. Data become the king. And all of them, except one company, 9 of the 10 leading companies are in Israel, having R&D engineering and manufacturing. And you ask yourself, what makes Israel so attractive? So here, the fact that they are all in Israel, the R&D investment as a percent of GDP in Israel is the highest, 4.3%. The second one of the Israel GDP is R&D. And most of it, vast majority, is foreign investment. It's not even Israeli money. It's not the government money, for sure. We don't get that budget. Those investments generated $24 billion exit last year. Yes, 15 billion is by Intel acquiring Mobileye, but this year we're running very, very fast, as Israeli here know. $5.2 billion capital was raised. There are more than 6,000 startups in Israel, more than 6,000. Every year there is additional 1,400 startups, and about 800 or 700 are going down. That's okay to go down. Net, we have about 700 new startups every year. What's unique in Israel is the ecosystem. The ecosystem in Israel, which the government well understood the challenge that we are facing in the innovation, in the technology, a very, very strong academia, many, many startups that we talk, private funding that we talk, growth company, in addition to the startups, multinational companies, all of that, you need the ecosystem, and last and not least, the Israel Defense Force, where 18 years old kids go into the military, he becomes very mature, very quickly, he has a gun in his hand. You have to make life and death decision. He has teamwork because you work as a team, and he being exposed to a lot of technology. So now he go out to study and to startups, and he's very mature and very ready. So you can see what happened to the Israeli multinational company. We have in Israel more than 350 multinational companies. And you can see that in the 70s and the 80s, IBM was there, Intel, KLA-Tencor, the company I come from. But as the 2000s start, as the virtual product started to ramp up, you can see the change in the number of companies that coming to leverage the ecosystem in Israel. And it's not secret that many of the automotive companies, as was mentioned before, having offices in Israel, Ford, GM, today it's Volkswagen, BMW, many BMW not yet, but Volkswagen, Daimler-Benz, they are all here in Israel trying to. So how this all work? Israel Innovation Authority is investing where there is market failure. We are investing across the whole life cycle of product, and we're investing on many, many different areas. When I say we invest, we give a conditional loan. If the startup succeed, then we have payback only of the money that we loaned, the principal. If the startup fail, then the loan is being forgiven. So, and we are not taking any equity in the company. One of many, many programs that we have is the Innovation Lab, where we support the large company that come by up to 33% of the CapEx and up to 120,000 euro for OpEx. And for the startups, we're funding up to 85%. And again, very, very attractive way. And we have the first tenders that already got here, and you can see, got the award from us, and you can see that it's Internet of the Things, autonomous car. It's a Renault, and the Renault Mitsubishi, Renault Nissan Mitsubishi, and they having startups coming to test their product in their lab. We have in Israel, as was said before, there is no tier one company in Israel for automotive, none. But there are more than 400 startups for autonomous vehicle on all aspects that you saw before that need to be addressed. And the government and the private sector, which I'm representing, the bridge between them, that's what we do. We're trying to promote and bring together private sector with the public sector. And with collaboration that we're looking forward here in France with many of the automotive car and tier one and tier two, if we work together, the sky are not even the limit. Thank you.